What's up, everyone? This is Tim with the Gutter Growth Podcast. I got a special guest today. I got Scott Spearman with Simply Gutter Tools. And Scott also owns Legacy Gutters. I believe you're third generation gutter guy?
I am, yeah. We're out of Springdale, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, to be specific.
Good deal, man. Is it still getting cold up there, or is it starting to warm up?
We are done with the cold. Hopefully, you never know with Arkansas. It could, have some snow in the morning, and then it could be 80 degrees in the afternoon. But I'm pretty sure the trees are starting to bloom. We're starting to get some good foliage coming through, some nice colors on the trees. So I think we're done with winter.
Does that slow you down, or you just keep plugging along during the winter?
It slows us down. Weather slows us down. A couple days a week, we could still probably charge it, right? 3 days a week, but it does slow down because everybody kind of hibernates here during the winter season. Everybody likes their breaks. We there's a lot of roofing contractors that crush it and stuff like that throughout the, spring, summer, and fall season. So we like to take our breaks during the winter season. But we could, we still could work, 2-3 days a week. Weather doesn't really slow us down too much.
Okay. So what is it? You just gotta wait till it dries up, or?
Yeah, just kind of we're kind of wusses up here, right? so it just kind of, we don't like to. I don't like to get out when it's 32 degrees. Like if I need to, if the work is there, I'll push myself to get through it. But I like to try to have my winter seasons to downtime and strategize and spend time with the family, because again, we work hard. We like to play a little bit too. So.
Yeah, man. So, Scott, tell me a little bit about the third generation. There's not too many people that are third generation, maybe second, but not third.
So backstory of how I'm third. So my grandfather got into the rain gutter business in Southern California, and it was my mom's dad. And then my dad, and he wasn't in it for that long. He was only in it for maybe 4 or 5 years, and he did a lot of just kind of subcontracting work. He didn't really do a lot of the work himself. And this was, man, I don't even know, 60s probably, around there. Okay. So, and he was one of the. I don't have a lot of info on the first generation, right? As far as my grandfather, my dad more was the ones that I worked with. So. My dad was in it for a little bit with my grandfather, and then my dad kind of took it over from my grandfather out in Southern California. And that was so we used to live in Oklahoma City, and then we moved when I was 5 from Oklahoma City into Southern California. And the reason why we moved to Southern California is because my dad was taking over my grandfather's rain gutter business. So this was like Central Orange County, like Tustin, Santa Ana area. So
did they have machines back then, or was it all like hand broke?
Back, to be honest, I should probably ask my dad a little bit about that more, but I think they did have a machine back then, and I want to say it was, I think, 4-inch back in the day. There wasn't.
Oh, wow.
5-inch wasn't even available back then. It was all 4-inch. So
I wonder if anyone has a 4-inch anymore.
I don't know. And it would be nice to get one, to have it on display somewhere, like in a shop or something like that. It's like a relic, right? That'd be sweet, dude. Yeah.
I wonder if that's like 9-inch coil.
Right. Yeah. With like super thin, right? Like 10, like aluminum foil.
I've seen it in half round. I've seen a 4-inch half round before.
Okay. Yeah. So a little bit back, backstory. So my brother kind of trained me. So I have an older brother. We're 13 months apart. My older brother trained me in the field back in. So I graduated high school in 98. Feel old, right? When I graduated high school, my dad pretty much threw me some keys to the truck and said, "Okay, here, you're a crew leader." So I got trained by my brother, and my brother kind of, showed me the ropes. And as soon as I was able to drive, I was pretty much crew leader. Homeowners were like, "Who is this guy installing these gutters? He can barely even drive." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the owner's son. He knows what he's doing," right? So,
Is your dad still running in California, or?
He's still out there. He runs. He's actually retired now. He kind of he doesn't really run anymore. As far as, he had one crew going, and that was about maybe 2 months ago. And then he's pretty much fully retired now. He's still sitting on like 3 rain gutter machines, 2 trucks. He wants to live glory days, but he's like 78 years old, and he's like, "Come on, Dad, get a up, dude." Right.
I could see myself not retiring like that.
Yeah, I'll never retire. I'll always try to keep doing something. You know, with us entrepreneurs, our minds are always got to be going. So
Yeah, I don't believe in it. So I could see myself working 80, 85 if I make it
yeah,
that long.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
how did you
again,
get to Arkansas?
so long story. So my dad's during the 2008 crash, right? My dad was pushing like 6 crews, right, doing a lot of volume, doing a lot of houses, right? And it was so out in California, there's no houses where I'm at now, right? Most houses come with gutters already. Out in Southern
Yep.
California, builders don't put houses. Houses don't come with gutters, right?
Kind of
So it
like
was really
Florida.
easy to. It's really easy to market. So my dad's, his business really tanked within that 2008 crash. He lost a lot as far as employees, and then he actually had he ended up losing his house, which probably a lot of people out did too. So my dad's house is going through a foreclosure. My sister lived out here in Arkansas, so I was like, "Hey, sis, and I used to come out here once in a while because my brother-in-law was a builder out in northwest Arkansas here, so I kind of helped him, kind of picked up his trash, kind of being his grunt guy, right? Which I loved it, right? I love being the grunt guy. Sometimes it's what I like to do. I've always been that kind of work hard and
Yep.
put your body through that. So my dad's house with the foreclosure, and then I moved out here to kind of help out my sister, you know, when she was in nursing school. So, and then I met my wife out here, and then ever since I love Northwest Arkansas. I was like, I don't want to go back. So, because when I was traveling back and forth, helping out my brother-in-law during the downtimes of being out in Cali, helping my dad and running my other, because I used to do Christmas lights out there.
Yeah.
I used to do window cleaning out in Southern California. Whenever my dad would like fire me, right? He'd be like, "You're fired. Go get a job or whatever." I'm like, fine. So like I already had that experience. I went and worked for a window cleaning company for about probably 6 months and started my own, right? Same with
Basement flooding, roof leaks, mold.
No, no. Have to clean the gutters.
Go back to sleep, honey. We installed one gutter guard.
Prevent unexpected and costly damage from clogged gutters. Protect your home with one gutter guard, the trusted solution for gutter protection. Call us today to schedule your free gutter inspection and estimate.
Same with the Christmas lights, right? And I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go work for a company, kind of learn the ropes and start my own thing." And just on us entrepreneurs, our brains are always got to be going. So again, so back to the story. I know I keep jumping back and forth, but it's kind of a long story. So I would help out my brother-in-law the downtimes of the Christmas light season, helping my dad, doing the window season, and I loved it out here in Northwest Arkansas. So I was like, dude, I gotta get back there. I gotta get back there. So I had an opportunity to come kind of help my sister be her Manny out here in Arkansas, and I was like, I'm gonna jump all over it. So I took it and met my wife out here. I went to Cali for one season of Christmas lights because I really enjoyed that, and then finished out my clients there, and then I came back to Arkansas, and I've been out here ever since for about 10 years. So
Is it just gutters or do you do lights too?
no, I stopped doing Christmas lights 4 years ago, which, man, I'm itching it to get back in. You got 2 years experience in the Christmas lights. You know how fun it is and how enjoyable.
I love it.
Lighting it up at the end of at the nighttime when it plugs in, you're just like, oh, I did this. This is awesome, right? Like, I have passions to get it back again, but it's hard, man, running a business, right? And gutter business and all that stuff. Like, if I focused on it, if I did it again, I would try to focus on the commercial side of things. I wouldn't run to get into the residential. Like I would really just focus on like strip malls, gated communities, stuff like that, right? But obviously my wife's the determining factor. If she wants me to pull the trigger, I'm all about it, right? It's really hard with having 4 kids because I got 4 kids and my wife likes me home, especially during the Christmas season. She never really saw me. So it took a lot of toll on our side of that, but I love the Christmas lights, but I don't do it anymore. I don't do no Christmas lights, no windows, just doing gutters. That's it. That's all I'm really focusing on.
How long has Legacy been around?
So Legacy, I started to rebrand this here about 3 years ago. So when my brother moved from Southern Cali like 4 years ago, we started up NWA rain gutters when we were together. My brother's a very, very good, like, systemized person, right? Like structure. So we were crushing it, man, for like 11 months. And then just a lot of, stuff came between us, right? Like, a lot of, and I don't want to call it strife or, arguments or anything like that, but it was, the business was our relationship was getting torn because of the business. So we dissolved that. So,
It can be hard working with
I
family.
learned a lot. It is. It's super hard working with family. So I learned a lot within that, 11 months that we were together. So basically a year. So we were, we had that business together for, so I learned a lot, right? Like how to create processes, how to do this. And like, I'd love to take my brother on with this legacy here, just as like a manager, right? To kind of oversee things, which I've already talked to him about it. He'd be totally down for it, but nothing like, we had a 50-50 partner, right? I was more the crew guy,
Initially.
right? Training the guys out in the field. So that's my happy spot. I love the field work. So, but I'm getting 46 and it's hard for me to crush it 5 days a week. I can only do it a couple days.
I'm done, man. That first Christmas season, I should have just stayed home. I had a crew, but I wanted to be out there with them on the takedowns because I was trying to figure out all the systems so I could kind of train everybody for the following year. And then I fell, got hurt, and I'm still dealing with it, to be honest with you. So it's just like I'm at that age, man. I'm not going to heal as fast as I did in my 20s, and I don't have no business on a ladder anymore, so I'm staying off of it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's like me, man. When, my 20s and 30s, I would climb a 40-foot ladder and like bounce on the thing, right? Having fun on it. Like now I'm creeping up a 32-foot ladder. I was on one a couple of days ago and I was like, literally, I was kind of scared, right? I was like, what am I doing on this thing? Why? But, it's when you're working with ladders, it's all about being comfortable and confident, right? Like what 20 something years of ladder experience. So it's just, but the older you get, the higher that ground comes, right? So when you take a fall like that, right? I've never taken a serious fall, little 8-foot ladders and stuff like that, but nothing super high up. But it'll.
This is that's the thing, man. It wasn't high up. I was like 8 feet, but I almost feel like if it was maybe another 5 feet higher, I would have had more time to react. Yeah. And I just had no time to react. It was just like, boom, I'm on the ground. And I fell right on my shoulder here.
That's hard. Yeah, for sure. That's what they say, that the smallest or the small falls or whatever like that, the worst ones, right? So, like
the only guy other than David, the other guy that I know that died, hanging gutters, he fell on a 6-foot ladder, had a concussion. He had to travel somewhere, so he hopped on the plane, and then all the pressure from the plane, he didn't make it on the flight. Yeah. So even those short falls, I mean, they're dangerous. Yeah, yep. Those are the ones you kind of, because you don't expect them, right? So, but that's is that why you created that tool, keep you off the ground or keep you on the ground? Well, mainly that, and it's more efficient, right? It's a lot more efficient, especially out in Cali when a lot of the fascia out there is wood, right? The hook that we have is like it hooks onto that wood fascia really easily. So I had to kind of modernize it and kind of make it more unique to because everything out here in Arkansas is all metal wrapped, right? So it's all metal wrapped, aluminum. So it's a little bit different, more trickier to kind of get that hook to stay onto the metal. So, but yeah, that's, not the main reason why, but, one of the reasons why that, we created the simple measure tool. Yeah. How did that invention come about? You were just thinking one day or? No, so yeah, I'm glad you asked, man, because it's something I do want to talk about. So my dad came up with the idea, right? Like, hey, we should do this, because my he's just an innovator, right? He like thinks that, he thinks the box, and then my brother really like puts it out there, right? He thinks about it more. He just like, this was 15 years ago when it actually when my dad was running like 6 crews, and my brother's a very systemized guy. Hey, if we can save 5 minutes here, if we can save 10 minutes there with between 6 crews, that saves a lot of money, right? My brother's a very mathematical type guy. So my brother went to basically Home Depot, bought a bunch of parts and threw it all together and took it out in the field. All the crew members were like laughing at my brother. That's not going to work, this and that. And like, sure enough, he clicked on and they were like, what the heck? So my brother ended up making, every one for all the crew, right? 6 of them for, all the crews that my dad had. And it was like
sometimes it was if yours broke for the day, because these things were made from Home Depot parts, right? Or Lowe's parts. So these things broke very often. So what would happen is like if it broke, like we would steal another person's one, and then like you'd get out in the field and they're like, where's my stinking measure? We called it the measuring stick back then. Where's my measuring stick, right? We're like, this was back in the day where we had CBs, like there was no cell phones, right? We had CB radios. We were texting, getting on the CB. I think it was, I can't remember the call name, right, that my dad had.
Was it Nextel?
Like, what's that?
Was it the Nextels?
No, it wasn't even the Nextels.
Before that.
This was before that even. You're talking about like CB radios, like inside the van, right, where it had a box with like an antenna sticking out, right? That's how old school it was, with the little cord coming into it, right? It's like, we had no cell phones back in the day, man. Like, it's like, so we're talking Thomas Brothers guides, right? Like, people don't understand, like, man, how good crew guys have it now, right? Like,
so you've been using this tool for a long time.
We've been using it for like 15 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, not more than that. They're 20 years because I say 15 years, but see, the thing is I grew up using that thing because my brother invented it and my brother taught me how to use it, right? So like, I don't know. I know other ways, right? When it breaks or something like that. So I know that thing's efficient and I know it works and I know that it's, it could save a lot of time because I've been using it for 20 years, right? So that's, so it's funny, the stories of like, hey, it broke. Who's got my, so there would not be fist fights, right? But arguments like the next day, you stole my measuring tool, blah, blah, blah. So my brother would have to fix it, right? Or you leave it somewhere and like, yeah. So it's just a fun, it's just a fun stories to talk about those things, right? So
When did you start producing them?
So I started the last 6 years. I've really taken it to like manufacturing, right? Like really spent a lot of time. We got our patent on it. I've done a lot of, further R&D on it, especially with out here in Northwest Arkansas of like, further R&D, like sold a couple, hey, gotten feedback from local guys here. Hey, you need to change this, you need to change that. So I've tweaked it and changed it over like the last 6 years, right? To make it look more industrial, make it look more streamlined. So give it, brand name and all that stuff. So yeah.
How high up can you go with it?
You can go about 16 feet.
Okay.
So, and it, since I have put it out on Facebook and, we've got some people like nationwide. I want to say we've got about 30 sold nationwide, right? And I do get some feedback on some people that have bought it, right? So people always say on the Facebook posts and stuff like that, hey man, how are you going to see it that far up? So you can, right? You can see just, people they don't know what they don't know. So the tape that we use is a really bigger tape. It has the numbers inside there, right, that are large, right?
So they're able to see it better.
Yeah, so you can see it better when it's 16 feet up. So, but and it's like riding a bike, and then the more that you use it, right, the better you get at it, right? So
yeah.
And
when I first started installing 22 years ago, I was a one-man band for a good 3 years straight. Other than the first year I started training, maybe 3-4 years. So you had to have your little tricks to keep the tape on so it didn't fall off. I used to take my snips and like cut a little extra teeth in it. So it would stick more.
It'd stick better. Yeah, that's the thing that's nice about this tool is you could use it with one person, right? It's really efficient with even.
So is it always one person measuring?
That's how so back in the day when my brother taught me, that's how we would do it. So, I'll map it out as far as we pull up on a job site, right? One guy gets out, starts unloading the truck, right? The crew leader usually does is he'll go take the measuring tool with a clipboard and start, measuring it out. So it's only one guy. And if it's a difficult piece or a challenging piece, we'll get one of the guys that to come help. Hey, I need help measuring this one, right? So because it's not going to take away from overall measuring everything, right? You're still going to have to use it on certain pieces, right?
Hi, my name is Archie, and I don't want this, or this to cause unexpected damage to your home.
Prevent unexpected and costly damage from clogged gutters. Protect your home with One Gutter Guard, the trusted solution for gutter protection. Call us today to schedule your free gutter inspection and estimate.
So now you got someone else doing something else instead of wasting their time with you on the measurements.
Absolutely, right? Instead of having two people. So it saves downtime. It saves a lot of downtime of one guy just sitting, twiddling his thumbs, not doing anything. But we were always trying to keep guys busy, right? Like, we always had our system, right? Just like when you pull up on a job, you have your, everybody knows what they do, right? So, or knows what to do at least. So, but yeah, it takes basically, instead of two guys measuring, it's just, bring it down to one. So.
Plus, you're on the ground, so I mean, you're safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A little bit less risk for part of the day.
Yep. Yeah. Saves, anytime you can save a couple steps up and down the ladder. Yeah. We go up and down the ladders enough, man. So.
How much you sell those for?
So they're $375 is what they are. And that includes
$375.
Yeah, $375. Yep.
That's worth it. I mean, you might be able to make that back in a month in time, if even.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Yep. By the time, and now, by efficiency, right? If you factor it in as far as how much you pay a guy, it's going to save you maybe an hour, half hour per job, whatever to measure, right? So depending on obviously the size of the job.
How do people get a hold of you to buy it?
Yeah, you can just go straight to the website, simpleguttertools.com. And then there's, I don't deal, I have a guy that takes care of all of our website stuff. So he's constantly updating stuff here and there. So, but yeah, you just go to simpleguttertools.com and then you can purchase it that way.
Do you got other tools that you plan on ended up selling, or are you just kind of sticking with this measuring tool right now?
Just sticking for this one for right now. There's obviously, as you know, you've been in the gutter business. People, I always, and this is their, backstory on why I kind of started like Simple Gutter Tools, because there's a lot of people that have, gutter guys have come up with their own products or stuff like that, right? And you've seen them; they're just now starting to come out with like different tools and stuff like that. There's not a lot of tools in the gutter trade, right? There's obviously your downspout punches, your snips, your basic stuff like that. But like specific tools like this that'll save people time, like like Grant's flashing puller, right? The roller puller, that's like, that thing's key, right? Like, and so stuff like that, like I got my eye and key to the industry right on tools, right? So that's, I just think there's not a lot of tools out there, man. So and I think we're on the like cusp of like just starting to get like a lot of these really cool tools to the market and stuff like that. But to answer your question, do I have any other tools? Not right now, right? I got plans and I got some ideas for some other tools, right, that I've just created that I use on my truck, but I haven't really, nothing that I can't take to market, right? There's still a lot of R&D that if we had to take it to market, because people, they bash it, right? Oh, what the hell is this? This is a piece of shit, blah, 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 right? So
is there a lot of work behind, patents and all that? I've never done anything like that.
That's a long road, and that's what's taken me the longest, right? Is getting the patent going, talking to patent attorneys back, because it's not like you go to a patent attorney and like next week you're rocking and rolling with like the patent and everything like that.
It takes a couple of years sometimes, can it?
It's a long drawn out, and I put this patent together. I pushed it in the year of COVID. So, and I'm just now, right? Like I'm getting letters from my patent attorney, and stuff like that. So it's taken 5 years, right, to get this patent going through. So granted, it was the year of COVID and like all government basically shut down, right? So.
Are you planning on getting putting it in distributors, like to where they can sell it?
Yeah, I've talking to, I don't know if you're familiar with, Vitelli. He's up in Oregon, Gutterall up in Oregon. So I've had a couple conversations with him, and then I wouldn't do it. Obviously, I'd have to start out with like the small mom and pop, shops, right? Mm-hmm. With like distribution on that side until I hit more mainstream, and ABC or Lansing or something like that would want to pick it up. But yeah, no, I've been talking to Vitelli, and we've kind of, come up with like not a full game plan, right? But like kind of get an idea of kind of how that would look like, right?
I got a couple guys I could probably introduce you to. They're more like mom and pop. They might want to carry something like that.
Yeah, for sure. That would be great. For sure. I love connections like that. Yep.
Yeah, man. I'm going to have to get one here soon for my gutter company.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Grant just started. I don't know if you know, but we just started a company about 3-4 weeks ago.
I do, so, yeah. I like I said, I'm kind of keen to the industry on Facebook and stuff like that, So yeah, what is it? Mother's Gutters? Mother's Gutters,
yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I love it. Dude, I love the day when I saw that, and I was like, That's at first I was like, I don't want to bash you, right? But I was like, dude, that's freaking sweet. I love it, dude. And then like, and then your like tagline is, you treat your mother or something like that, right? So your mother's love or whatever. You can, that's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. John Majak came up with it, and when he first told me, I'm like, this is either the worst name in the world or the best name in the world.
Yeah.
But it grew on me, and
no, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it'll definitely grow on you. Yeah.
It grew on me, and then the slogan's "No one cares like mom" or something
That's
like
it.
that. So
Right. Yeah. No one cares like mom. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you want to check the website, it has a video, on how to use it and stuff like that. So yeah, go and check. You can check the website out. Get that, kind of tutorial on the video and stuff like that. So I think it's just a quick, it might even
anything to keep you off the ladder is worth it. And if you're able to have the other guy do something, like I was just talking to someone about that the other day. Like, if you're walking around the house 10, 20 times picking up shit, there should be a system to everything. Like when you pull up to the job, one guy's going up to talk to the homeowner, the other guy's starting to get the truck set up. And, so I think it's good because a lot can get done while someone's measuring. Because I always measured with two people if I had two people. But now you're tying up that person. They could be laying stuff out.
Sure.
So I can see it really speeds things up. But what I really like about it is just staying off the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you've experienced something, firsthand that, try to get you off the ladders as much as possible. Right. And again, it is there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, just like riding a bike or anything like that. Right. So, just gotta, take it slow and kind of work with it.
Good deal, man.
Yeah.
So what, you got any plans over the next year or?
So the next couple years, I want to try to get Legacy Gutters to a point because obviously I'm 100% still in the field. We had a kind of a big incident last year, right? That I'm restructuring a lot of stuff with the company's safety policies and procedures and stuff like that. So I'm 100% back in the field as of right now, and just more to kind of get the documentation of the policies and procedures out in the field, right? Like I'm, GoProing. I'm going to start videoing myself and just creating those that structure, right? And then eventually I'll step out of the field side and like really start managing. And I'm working on myself, right? Like every day I'm listening to podcasts, reading books, right? Because if you haven't grown with the management style, and you don't pop up on learning management skills. I think it comes over time, right?
Yep.
So I'm still in that business owner mindset, right? And treating my company like a business and not actually, instead of, as, Margaret Gruber's book, E-Myth, right? You got to work on the business instead of in it. So right now I'm going to work hard within the next year. That's my goal within this next year is to build up the policies and procedures and all that stuff. And you would think I'd have it over, think I'd have it all dialed in by, 20 years, but I don't.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right? And
that's why no one has it. It's just, we get so busy in the, in the day to day. I mean, we're starting to build out a lot of that in the gutter growth program. We have like SOPs and documents, and like it's literally at least 20 hours worth of work every week just creating this stuff.
Yeah.
And so for someone to run a business and do it, it's a lot. But I think that's the missing component. Because everyone has such a hard time training employees, but we also don't really give them anything to train them. It's just like, here, go out in the field with this guy and learn this shit,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
if we have these videos and these programs and things for them to do homework, it's going to be a lot easier to onboard people and grow a pretty decent company. So it's pretty cool you're doing that.
Yeah, like right now I'm keen on like Tommy Mello. I don't know if you know, obviously, like almost home service industry type guy. Like I'm crushing.
He's a beast.
Dude, he's a super beast, man. He's got me motivated like every day. I can't get enough of his podcast. I'm listening to him like when I'm working, I'm driving, right? Like I'm not gonna listen to any music or anything like that. So I'm almost listening to almost every single one of his podcasts from like, what is it, 2018, I want to say. So like, what is that, 8 years, right? So he's been doing it for a long time. So, but that's what he talks about. He trains his guys for what, 4-6 weeks, right? And then he'll send them out by himself. So it's like we give him what, maybe 4 to 6 hours, right? If that, right? So So I think that, we just needed, us gutter guys, we need to do a better job at installing, right? On training guys, right? And hiring the right guys, right? Probably, just as well as I do, like we hire people out of need, right? And like we can't, if you want A+ players, you can't hire people out of need.
That's why I always tell people, like, run hiring ads the whole year round. I don't care if you're hiring or not hiring, just have them running.
Yep.
Like, it's no different than having to have advertisement going, because now instead of like it gets real busy, you sell a huge job, it could be an apartment complex, and now you're buried. If you're putting up that ad right then and there, now you're scrambling, and that's ingredients for the wrong hire. Because you're just trying to get someone in place right now. But if you're constantly year round, and now you got a pool of people like constantly, applying, and it might be just you don't really need someone yet, but the superstar just applied, and maybe you could kick your advertisement up, go a little bit harder, and get that hire in there. You want to found that guy if you weren't looking when you weren't supposed to be looking. You know what I mean? Or
For sure.
when you didn't have that need right off the bat.
Absolutely. Yeah. Always keep hiring. And that's, and it takes the structure, right. To be able to, because if you're going to just want to throw it out there as far as hiring a guy, right, then you're not going to really get the candidates that you want.
Yeah, that's so true. Good deal, man.
Yeah. That's another thing, as far as the crew guys, right. Like we've always kind of gone about like it's not a career type job, right? But gutters can be a career job if you treat it right and take and do the things that you need to do to be a good installer, or you can make great money at it. So
the gutter business has always been really good to me, but you get what you put into it too, so if you put in, honestly, it's not even about working hard. Like, you could work hard your whole life and never get anywhere, but it's definitely about the systems and having the systems kind of work for you, and then putting people in place, and that's the way to go far in this business. Not doing everything yourself.
Company culture is huge, right? That's what I'm learning a lot from Tommy Mello's podcast and just listening to more stuff, right? I'm like, man, like, just like the different millennials and all, the different, eras of age, right? Like, the young, because obviously we want guys that are in their, 20s and 30s, right? So just their different mindset of like what they want, right? Some of them don't want, obviously the pay is always great, but the company culture is huge. They want to work with guys that'll, treat them right. That's not going to be boneheads, right? And to be honest, there's a lot of boneheads in the gutter. I'm not talking crap on any of the gutter guys.
There is.
There's a lot of boneheads in the gutter, right?
I got some nightmare stories.
I've got some too. I think we all do. So I could talk hours about, people that my dad have hired or people that I've hired, right? Like, other stories that other guys have told me. So I think, gutters, it comes along. It's construction, right? It's outside construction, right? So
I had the mistake one time of hiring someone off of that Facebook group, off one of those gutter installer groups, and he was coming from like Alabama or something, so I had this guy traveling down here. The only reason I did it is because I had a couple apartment complexes going on, and I was just going to kind of plug them in there with my guys because I can kind of supervise that. Day 2, man, I get a call from the property manager over there, and she's like, "You got to get over here. This guy's smearing blood all over his face." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
Girl, I get over there. And this guy, like, he got on some type of drugs. I had to get him out of there like that day, right then and there, like, get out of here. But he was literally rubbing blood on his face, like just. I show up there and he's like, just. I'm like, this is like out of a horror movie.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, that was like a real nightmare.
Yeah, that's horrible, man. Yeah, what was the blood from?
He had some sore on the back of his neck that he was like digging into, because I guess like he's probably on opiates, so he was like scratching and he had the sore and he's like digging into it. And then that was a nightmare, man.
Yeah.
It was day 2 that he was there.
Day two, even. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's
you did
not
all
a
right
good,
day
that's
one.
a reputation to have with property management companies. But hopefully you resolve that issue with them, and still or it ended up.
Yeah, I never had nothing that wild happen again, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't think that I would ever hire someone out of state again and have them come because like now they feel like they're uprooting their life to get there, and then if it doesn't work out, and I just won't do that again. So it's either
Yeah.
local or no go.
Yeah, to be honest, like I'm trying to get guys that don't have like gutter experience, right? Like I want to really start hitting like window cleaners up, right? Trying to take a pull from them, right? Because obviously they already have the ladder experience. They,
You trying to
window
hire
cleaners,
younger guys?
younger guys, yeah, like in the 20s, 30s, right? People that have like younger family, right? More kind of some responsibilities that I can kind of trying to create. That's one thing about I like a kind of restructuring is like I can start setting that company culture. Right, with like my first time, right?
So this is what I found.
Okay, so you're telling me my clogged gutters caused all this? I had no idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, most homeowners don't think about their gutters until this kind of stuff happens.
Wow.
Prevent unexpected and costly damage from clogged gutters. Protect your home with One Gutter Guard, the trusted solution for gutter protection. Call us today to find out why more homeowners are choosing One Gutter Guard.
There's a lot of really responsible kids that are 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
Maybe even more so than some of the 30, 40-year-olds that you hire. They don't have any bad habits yet, and they're pretty impressionable, so you could instill a good work ethic into them.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So I definitely think where to go.
And they want to work because they're ambitious. They want to get out there. They want to charge it.
Yeah, they're right at that age,
Yeah, they want to not necessarily prove, because when I was in my 20s, early 20s, right? Like I wanted to prove something. I had my brother to prove to, and then my dad too, right? So it's just I think that generation they want to prove, not necessarily, and they want to create that confidence inside themselves too.
Yeah, I was 18 when I got into it.
Yeah.
You were younger, right?
Yeah, I was like, as soon as I graduated high school, which was 98, and I was driving early. I was actually driving when I was like a sophomore. So I had my driver's license when I was like sophomore in high school. So when I graduated high school, when I think I was 18, yeah, like right. But I was installing for my dad during the summertime, right? Like all through the summer, as soon as the day after, right? Summer was like, you're going on a crew, right? I'm like, okay. But the thing back then is we made good money too. Like me and my brother, we had nice cars, right? Like we never got anything handed to us, which I'm glad now, right? Like we didn't get anything handed to us because, I have a good work ethic. Now I work hard, and I'm instilling that into my 4 kids too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was making $1,800, $2,000 a week as just an installer 22 years ago. Almost the first year after I was about a year in business.
Yeah.
But we were back then. It was all Spike and Farrell. Like these guys have no idea nowadays.
Dude,
it was all.
They have no idea. It's easier to remove them than it is to those Spike and Farrells. Is like those were some rough days. We called them bam it in because you had to actually bam it in with a hammer, right?
Yeah.
Spike and Farrell days, dude. Yeah, those are some fun days, right? I enjoyed it.
God forbid you missed a nail.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. We trained guys, right, to put your hand over it, right? We're like, okay, you're going to put so if you missed it, you're freaking hitting your hand first, right? So that's what my brother taught me, right? And then eventually you get comfortable, right? And then you turn the hammer sideways, right? And you nail it in sideways, right? Because there's a bigger surface area.
A lot of guys did that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because
I could never do the sideways thing. I tried it, but.
Yeah. We did most out in Cali, everything's second story out there. So we did a lot of second story. You can walk on the roofs out there, a lot of concrete tile roofs. So we did most of probably 80% of our installs were from the roof. So it's you just lean over and kind of bam it in and bam it in. So that's what we call it, bam it in. So
yeah, I was a roof guy too.
Yeah.
I'm glad those Spike and Farrell days are over, though. To be honest with you,
I'm so glad those Spike and Farrell's over.
I fought it too. Like there was like 2 or 3 years there, I'm like, fuck those hangers.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And then
Everybody's
eventually I started doing it.
Yeah, because you're used to what you're used to, right?
Yeah.
You're used to what you're used to, right? And it's people don't want to change, but as soon as they figure out the change and like, oh yeah, this will save us time, or this is gonna, save my wrist, dude. I still have wrist problems, right? From well, that too, and with the staple gun,
Hammering.
right? With and window cleaning, so I have a lot of wrist action, right? So so I got it's not all from spike and ferrule, but a lot of it, that's where my wrist problems did start to happen, way back then. So, but yeah,
Even hard on the ears, like all that banging.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably where some of my hearing problems come from.
That too. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I could talk about spike and ferrule stuff all day long with you, right? Like a lot of stories about back in those days. So, like I've actually started collecting them. So, which I don't know why. My envisions are like, okay, so another business entrepreneur idea, you can't steal it, right? But now I'm on Facebook, right, or whatever your podcast. Somebody steal it, go ahead. But I thought about doing like trade tables, right? So I'm doing like a coffee table, right? And like doing an epoxy, right? And like fill the coffee table with just a bunch of like spikes and ferrules, crap load of screws, broken drill guns, broken hammers, right? How cool would that be?
That should be your office desk.
That's exactly right. If you have like a crew, right, or like in like a big shop or something like that, right? Putting that coffee table, like so trade tables, right? So if I
are you doing any trade shows? Like, have you been doing those?
I didn't go to the last GutterCon because I didn't end up going, right? I didn't end up going to the last GutterCon, and then I've gone to the first 3 GutterCons. So
what about like any home shows? Are you doing like any trade shows locally?
Yeah, trade shows. For Legacy Gutters, you mean?
Yeah.
Like local home shows for I haven't, to be honest, the roofing, the roofers out here dominate the market. So it's really hard to if I went to a home show, I'd basically just kind of be wasting my money, right? A lot of people and a lot of gutter guys, they do siding and soffit out here. So
So what is it that homeowners aren't buying it as much because it's being built with gutters? So it's only like when they're doing re-roofs?
Exactly. Yep. Re-roofs or like my big thing right now is putting a spike and ferrule campaign together, right? About like, hey, that's an old system. You need to take that stuff off your house because it can cause damage to it. Because we take spike and ferrule systems off all the time, and there's rotted fascia behind it, right? And there's reason why, because back in you got the ferrule, right? And if that ferrule lines up, if the groove is upward, all that water is going down inside that ferrule.
Right.
And if it's on an angle, right, it's going to be all that water is going back into that fascia, rotting that thing out for 20 years, right? So, but that's kind of what
most people don't know that.
But they don't. That people don't know that, right? So that's why we're putting a marketing campaign together to show homeowners and just trying to give them as much knowledge as possible on that side. So because a lot of houses out here, I'd say 80% of the houses out here already have regulars. So it's hard. It's hard unless you work up with the builder or you work with the roofing contractor, and it's low hanging fruit. Which it's like it sucks. I don't want to go out and work for a freaking $5-6 a foot, right? Like I know my value.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not gonna do it. So I have to try to train my my thought process on the higher margins, higher profits, and just kind of tweak my brain and tweak my marketing strategies. So
yeah, like if you do the math on those $5-6 a foot guys, like you give someone doing $10 plus 10 quotes, and you give the $5-6 foot guy 10 quotes. The $5, $6 guy is going to have a 60%, 70% close rate, easier. Yeah. But like literally that $10 guy plus, he could have a 30% close rate. And when you look at the profit margins, because the $5 guy's only got a couple bucks there, the $10 guy's got $5 plus a couple bucks. Mm-hmm. And so like every one job they're doing, they're literally 3 times as profitable. So you could do 3 jobs at a 30% close rate, throw away the other 7, and you'll be twice as profitable as the guy selling 7 jobs at $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And like, what really made this stick for me, I mean, I wasn't a low price company on the company that I sold, but I could have did better, and with the Christmas lights really taught me that, because I was going $12 a foot.
Wow.
And if you could sell Christmas lights for $12 a foot, why can't you sell gutters for $12 a foot?
Yeah.
But I was much more comfortable with the lower close rate, going that high.
Yeah.
And just when you run the numbers, it just makes sense. So there's no reason to give it away for $5-6.
Well, when you do it for that cheap, is what I found out. It's you pay your guys crap, right? Like, you can't give them the pay that they want, because, to be honest, there's not enough profit in it, right? I can't pay my guys good. I can't give them, health insurance. That's, but I can't give them, paid vacation. I can't give them, holidays off, and I can't give them bonuses and stuff like that, because there's no profit in it. So.
Yep, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Good deal, man. So one more time, how do they get in touch with you to buy a measuring tool?
Yeah. So you go to simpleguttertools.com, and then it'll have some links there, or not necessarily a link. I just click on order, right? Just follow the prompts on how to go ahead and order it. So we got like 3 in stock right now, which we got more coming for our shipments and stuff like that. Because I hand assemble all of them. So, everything's made in house. So we got another shipment coming. So, but yeah.
I'll post that link too on this when we post this. So you guys can just kind of go on the link up there and
awesome.
get a hold of Scott. But
yeah,
I think it's worth it. I'm going to do it if it saves a little bit of time, but more so if it saves someone from falling, like literally you're limiting the liability there. By staying off the ground. So I'm all for it.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Like I say, anytime you can go up a ladder, at least, saves time going up a ladder. It's, saves obviously efficiency, right? And then safety, right? That's kind of the big things about, with going up and down ladders. It's like, you just gotta take it slow and, take care of, do what you need to do.
Yep. Good deal. All right, Scott, I appreciate you coming on here today.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, Tim. Thanks, man. Yeah.
I will see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, have a good one.